Well, the current positions then confirmed at the moment, but of course, still far from certain with the fleet about to come back together at the top. Offshore Team Germany, and you can see it there, crossing ahead of 11th Hour Racing Team, who are now in second place, Corum third, Weil in fourth, and then linked out the boat which really set everything on fire in the last leg. They were so much stronger in the light and in the windy stuff upwind than just about any other team. Surely they're going to be very confident that that fifth place for them is only a temporary position. So these three teams on the left-hand side. So, I mean, Abby, 11th Hour Racing Team still pushing it over to the left, and you would imagine that this is a case of I only want to tack once, one more time to get round the top. I want to make that ley line very comfortable indeed. And appearing into the picture on the bottom, this is the key cross. This is what matters. If 11th Hour Racing Team are over the ley line and this boat here with Offshore Team Germany can tack and tuck in underneath them, then this boat will be leading at the top. So a big crucial moment coming up, and you can see Robert Stanjek, the skipper, helming to leeward, giving him a good view of the jib, but also allowing him to keep one eye on 11th Hour Racing. Now as the breeze comes up, he makes his move to windward, and Abby, I mean, the cross is certainly Germany's. The question is what will happen after they tack?
Yeah, exactly. If in fact 11th Hour are on the ley line, and obviously Germany have got to do one more tack, which again is another manoeuvre. It's going to slow them down. But yeah, they could, if they're going to play really, really close, then they're going to take the option to tack on top of 11th Hour, sit on them, give them some dirty air, and then take the benefit that way. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting in the next few minutes.
It looks like 11th Hour Racing Team are going to have to do two more tacks to get round this mark. We will have to wait to see exactly, but certainly Offshore Team Germany think that the Americans have got the ley line wrong. They're confident to keep pushing on because, as you say, I mean, they didn't tack in an aggressive position. They didn't take the breeze of their rivals by tacking right on their bow. So they are pushing on. The Americans look like they're going to have to do two more. Weil and Corum coming in together with those two boats pretty much bow to bow, and then linked out with some space just off to the right-hand side of the course, going out of view on the screen. And Offshore Team Germany still pushing over. So if you're a fan of 11th Hour Racing Team, this is good news. The further that Offshore Team Germany needs to go to get to that windward mark, it means that the Americans, the two tacks they'll have to do will be less painful. So the lead at the moment with Robert Stanjek and Offshore Team Germany. The upwind, medium power section of this start has proved very profitable for this boat here. I mean, we don't want to put it all on the design because this is a good, strong set of sailors on board this boat, but the configuration of this boat is certainly a little bit more comfortable in these conditions. It'll be the reach that will be the real testing ground for what they can do. So at the back of the boat, just getting themselves set up for what looks like the tack here. Runners being eased, travellers being set up, and we expect them to be able to go in just a moment. And interesting to see, I mean, just how different, just how cozy, shall we say, life on board an IMOCA 60 is compared to the VO65s.
Yeah, indeed. There's nothing particularly luxurious about these boats. And obviously, you know, the way they're designed for round-the-world racing, it's all about protecting yourself from the elements, which it kind of, for this type of racing where it's short course and boats around you, the visibility is not always great. And yeah, and they're just not designed for manoeuvres, you know, as what we're seeing here. So
this is the positions here just as they are approaching up. We are going to get 11th Hour Racing and Corum coming into this first mark, the Alicante leaving mark, on starboard, but with a tack and a bear away to go to get round. That's going to be an interesting manoeuvre, and unless everything goes absolutely flawlessly, and don't get me wrong, these are some of the best sailors in the world, that is also going to be quite a slow manoeuvre as well, but it's not going to be a problem for Offshore Team Germany. They've got a slightly easier foredeck to manage. They can get out of that cockpit a little bit easier. So now they start putting up their downwind sail as they go round that windward mark. It is a very strong start to the final offshore leg for Offshore Team Germany. They needed this upwind section to work well for them. and it has. And that is absolutely crucial for this team's hope of an overall victory. And just behind them, 11th Hour Racing and Coram. Abby, this is the manoeuvre that I was talking about. This is going to be the tack, bear away, shall we say, a handbrake turn.
Yeah, I'm interested that Team Germany didn't choose to bear away straight around that mark. Whether there's some land advantage that they're trying to avoid by just standing on for a little longer. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting manoeuvre here by 11th Hour in second place. As you said, whether it's a handbrake turn or whether, given the how difficulty of manoeuvring these boats, they'll just take a slow tack round. Get ready to deploy the sail and then take off.
The big question is what's happening just off our screen below the picture, because coming in underneath them are two teams that haven't had to dip their speed just as the Americans had to do here. However, a second place rounding for 11th Hour Racing Team is strong, and it is again a very good start to this leg, especially for a team going upwind with basically sailing with your dagger board halfway up on your laser. I mean, that's how Mark Towell, the CEO of 11th Hour Racing Team, put it. And they will be very pleased to not be in this melee here. Coram coming in on starboard, Buer-Valet coming in on port. The two French boats locking horns. It looks like Buer-Valet are going to be able to get round cleanly across the bows of Coram, and that's pretty good news, because Coram coming in on starboard as the inside boat as well would be able to force a little bit of room there. They would be able to take it, but it looks like Buer-Valet, I mean, maybe they even counted that in. They've left that room if they needed it, but they don't. They've got the superior speed, and they make it look pretty comfortable, reaching just across the bows of Coram. That is what we're not used to seeing in the IMOCA 60s. I mean, that was actually pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, this is very foreign, seeing such close racing amongst these boats. It looked like Buer-Valet had slightly overstood and were just able to put a little bit of bow down, but as you said, just keep a little bit of safety measure on Coram coming in there. But these guys are in good shape. They look like they're ready to deploy. They're just coming out of the tack, obviously just getting the sheets set up on the drum for a deploy. So yeah, great to see. But I mean, you can see from this cockpit there are just strings everywhere, and you've really only got one central winch to be able to operate all of the sheets. So whether that's your dagger board, whether that's your mast rotation, whether it's your traveller, so a lot on.
A lot on, and unfortunately for Buer-Valet, Coram has got the jump on them here. I mean, when Coram came around the windward mark, that code 0 came straight out. You're absolutely right, though, about the attack from Buer-Valet. They have come up, and the big question is, how much have Coram had to come up to defend? Because behind these two boats is Linked Out, the boat that is fast, and certainly fast on this angle of sail. So if you're Linked out of picture to the left-hand side, and you're seeing these two boats sailing each other off the course, you're thinking, great, this is my opportunity here. The higher that these two boats sail, the more they're going to have to come down later on, and the more that gives Linked Out a chance to come into the game. So code 0's on and pulling. Buer-Valet attacking to windward, Coram defending. No real change in the position. The question is, how much higher of the rum line did it take these two teams? There's Linked Out right behind them, and it looks like Linked Out are in the hunt. Not right on their stern at the moment, but this is going to be a major test right now of 3 different IMOCA 60s, latest generation boats, very, very different foils indeed. This is the position at the moment, like we say, of the IMOCA 60s, with Linked Out now safely around that top mark. They're in 5th place in the IMOCA 60s. Buer-Valet and Coram, 3rd, 4th, I mean, you tell me. 2nd place is 11th Hour Racing Team. And then in 1st place, Offshore Team Germany, with that upwind leg playing so well for them. And now they're out in 1st place and sailing pretty well. Now, Abby, taking nothing away from the skills on board this boat, they've got to be expecting the distance behind them to start evaporating. They've got to be expecting, I mean, VMG downwind, Robert Stanjek was saying that they felt good. Upwind, obviously they're good. Tight reaching, you'd give it to the foils, wouldn't you?
You certainly would, but given that this is such a short leg, relatively speaking, for the length of the course that they would do normally, it's maybe enough that we won't see as big a change in the distances between them as we perhaps would have expected. I think maybe for the foils to take effect, it would have to be over a much longer duration leg. So I think, given how we've seen them placed here, I think we'll see offshore Germany hang on to their first place, although we probably will see the boats compress up to them behind. I did notice that these guys on offshore Germany have deployed a fractional 0.
Yes.
Same as 11th hour. So again, are we going to see the 3 IMOCAs that have got mastheads deployed? Are we going to see a speed difference as they close up the fractionals ahead of them?
I am frantically clicking around on the tracker, which is on our website, trying to see the difference in speed. And at the moment, I can say that really there's nothing in it. I mean, I'm talking like 0.2 of a knot, 0.3 of a knot. We need to let them run onto this course a little bit more and let the speed sort of average out. But those were the positions that they were in when they rounded the top. Pretty much those were the distances as well, with Breuer-Valais and Coram coming in close together, because Breuer-Valais were a little bit slower to get that code 0 out and get it pulling. 11th hour racing look pretty comfortable between the two. They're close enough to offshore Team Germany to be able to close down that distance if they get a speed edge. But as you say, offshore Team Germany right now looking pretty happy. And Abby, just put me in the mind of one of these sailors that's about to start an offshore leg. Obviously, this isn't going through the Southern Ocean, and it's not like some of those sort of 4-week-long legs that you've been on, but this is going to be tough. This is doldrums. This is baking in the Mediterranean. Does it go through your mind at this point, do you know what? I'm working pretty hard here on this pedestal. Maybe I should save a little bit back for what's to come.
Yeah, difficult question. I mean, it's hard to hold back. I mean, when you're in this sort of under pressure situation, you're going to be giving it everything you can to hold on to your position. I mean, just